Well. Killmonger is making an Electro movie for Warner Brothers. It's nice to see DC being the one to shiv Marvel for once. So yes, late Friday it was announced that Michael B. Jordan will be producing a Static Shock movie for Warner Brothers DC division. Now, how could Michael B. Jordan do Disney like that? They made him Killmonger. Well, aside from Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan doesn't really have any other business with the mouse. And I recently heard that Marvel is looking at previs for Black Panther 2, which means they use a visual effects team to give them samples of how a project might look, because it's mostly VFX these days anyway. But anyway, I hear they're testing 2 Black Panthers, one female and one male, to work together simultaneously, which I guess would really solve everybody's problem. Obviously, one would be Shuri, but I don't think the other one's going to be Killmonger. As I reported when Chadwick Boseman tragically passed away, I think it would be in pretty bad taste to resurrect fictional character Killmonger in the wake of a very real death. M'Baku, I want to see it be M'Baku, quite frankly. All right, so anyway, Michael B. Jordan is available and struggling to find his next big franchise that he can stick with for a few years, because Black Panther and even Creed are in his rearview mirror, at least for now. Michael B. Jordan was one of the first big names, of the current group of, Black talent in Hollywood on the block. He, I think did a fantastic job as Johnny Storm. It's unfortunate that the film and the studio didn't support him more. And I know that was a very bad experience for him. But I think probably he used some of that when he was for his role in Black Panther, it created a very real anger in him, I believe. But he, where's his big franchise that, he can again have, in Hollywood, the great way to be a movie star these days is you have like your really big franchise, action franchise, and then between installments, you go make smaller, more critic-friendly movies, and that creates a wonderful balance. And that's really the formula. And so Michael B. Jordan needs that big franchise that he's going to be able to keep coming back to. I mean, he has that Tom Clancy movie, but that just, I believe, sold to Amazon. So, well, of course, everybody's on streaming these days. It's probably not what Michael B. Jordan was hoping for with that film. So enter the Static Shock opportunity, where, like with his frequent collaborator Ryan Coogler, who's going to continue on the Black Panther path, Jordan has now found another titan in Hollywood's Black community to team up with. And this titan is looking for his own big break, because while he's very successful, as you're about to see, Reginald Hudlin, I'm sure, would like to have himself be a household name. And I'm sure some of you are like, I've heard of him, Grace, but I'm talking about being like a Kevin Feige, right? Even a Walter Hamada, where everybody talks about them, fans are aware of the talent behind the camera. But Reginald Hudlin, this is an incredible resume. So he and Michael B. Jordan will be teaming up to make this new Static Shock movie. Hudlin is heading up the revival of Milestone Comics at DC, and he's also going to be writing a new Static Shock digital comic and a new graphic novel. So he's really got dibs on the character. Hudlin started out in movies and directed some of the biggest projects with Black talent back in the early days of Hollywood's efforts to diversify. Like, really impressive. He also was president of BET from 2005 to 2008, where, get this, at the exact same time he was writing Marvel's Black Panther comic, and he's the one behind the wedding of T'Challa and Storm. I mean, that's amazing. He's probably like, why aren't I a household name? He went on to co-produce Django Unchained and has executive produced the NAACP Image Awards multiple years, this year's Emmys, and he outright produced the 2016 Oscars. He's on the board of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, and he most recently directed Marshall, starring none other than Chadwick Boseman. Damn, that's amazing. Now, Hudlin, who's really positioned himself at the crossroads of Hollywood and comic books, it's about to pay off, because he's been trying to get Milestone Comics back up at DC since 2015. Dwayne McDuffie spearheaded the original Milestone initiative, but sadly passed away, tragically too young, in 2011. Although McDuffie's widow, who inherited her husband's stake in Milestone, 50%, sued DC for being excluded from the planned revival. Pretty uncool, DC, that she outright owns 50% and still had to sue you. The lawsuit was settled in 2017, and so that obviously delayed the return of Milestone. And I don't hear her name mentioned anywhere here, which is unfortunate, but I'm sure she's getting something. But like Hudlin and McDuffie, McDuffie, while he was alive, he was very prolific. Michael B. Jordan is clearly hoping to establish his own business empire. I always tell you it's about diversifying that portfolio. He's, of course, a very prolific actor. He's one of the first and top clients of new management company M88, which we've been talking a lot about lately, which specializes in talent of color in front of and behind the camera. Jordan is also becoming a prolific producer, though, not just of his own films, but TV shows like Raising Dion, where he did have a small role. And since he's usually in his own projects, at least for now, it stands to reason he might even appear in Static Shock. In fact, I would think that he would, because that would be the most beneficial to him in that regard. Now, who could he play? I mean, he could be Ebon, the main villain, although another villain after Killmonger, I don't know about that. There's the Ebon's brother turned villain turned anti-hero Rubber Band Man, but maybe they could create a new character. Maybe that's the way I would go. I'm curious for you Static Shock fans, where do you see Michael B. Jordan maybe fitting into this story? Jordan, Hudlin, and DC and Warner Brothers are hoping that the new Static Shock, especially in today's entertainment landscape, can connect with audiences to such a degree that it becomes a multi-platform franchise. We're talking not just movies, but animation, video games, theme park presence, merchandise, and more. Now, of course, Disney is the only studio that can easily provide that all for a franchise just like that. And that's one of the reasons Disney keeps winning. Warner Brothers still, though, has a bit of a struggle on those fronts, especially theme parks. And I really wish they would expand their Universal deal beyond the Harry Potter collaboration, because that's worked out great. So it just drives me crazy that they haven't made a deal for a DC world, like a DC land as well. I mean, it would kill. Why are you just building these in the Middle East? I'm very happy for those of you in the Middle East who get these rides, but Six Flags just ain't cutting it anymore, that deal. And maybe they're still stuck in that deal, but just write the check to get out of it. Anyway, Static Shock is by far and away the most popular character to come out of Milestone Comics, especially thanks to his popular animated series, his iconic animated series. But interestingly, Michael B. Jordan specifically tweeted a picture of the Static Shock comic with a cooler version of the character. I'm surprised he wouldn't go with the more well-known version, which of course is from the animated series. So that gives you a little idea of the direction they might be planning to go in, which makes sense considering, I think, Michael B. Jordan's tastes that we've seen over the years and the work that he's done. But with Jamie Foxx coming back as Electro, promising that he and Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige's involved, Kevin Feige's involved in all the Spider-Man, the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies at Sony, but Jamie Foxx promises they're going to get it right this time, and Black Lightning, a popular show on the CW, Jordan and Hudlin are going to have to work very hard to make their own electric hero stand out from what's quite frankly a crowd. Also, Black Panther 2 is coming, and Miles Morales is coming even faster. Not just with his recent animated movie, which is getting a sequel, but he has his new video game coming up, which looks incredible. And I, too, am hearing rumors that he might be popping up in Spider-Man 3 and joining the MCU. Those rumors have not been confirmed. I'm just mentioning them to you offhand in this video. That's why I'm not making a standalone video about that. But I am hearing those rumblings. So don't be surprised if he shows up in Spider-Man 3. But it's not yet something you should definitely look for. But Miles is definitely coming. He's coming fast. It might not be in Spider-Man 3, but I think it's going to happen. And I heard, though, that it could be in Spider-Man 3. As soon as I can get confirmation on it, I'll let you know. So what do you think about Static Shock as a property, both for Warner Brothers and for Michael B. Jordan? And also, what do you think of Milestone Comics? I hope this really works out. I think it's certainly very exciting. I mean, Hollywood's all about brands, and Milestone is a very strong brand. Has a lot of rich history, so I think it's a smart move for DC. I don't know what took them so long. But the comics have to be good, the movies have to be good, and we'll see what the casting looks like and who they hire to direct. Those are all going to be very important decisions. And let's see how good Jamie Foxx's Electro turns out. That's going to be extremely important as well. Although based on the first round, I wouldn't be too nervous. I kid because I hope Jamie Foxx pulls it. I hope it goes well. All right, so share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.